and you're on. Oh my God! What is
I'm on
crazy?
Project Unchained. Oh my god!
Yo, it's so cool. Wait, you're on Project Unchained?
Are we streaming live to millions right
Oh
now?
my God! No, that'd be super cool though. That'd be super cool. So Noah Church, that's your name. My name is Joe. Um,
Hey Joe.
cool. Nice to meet you. I would introduce you, but I want to give you that opportunity. What do you want to introduce yourself to the readers as?
Well, I'm Noah Church. I'm 27 years old now. Are you about my age, or how old are you?
24. Very close.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was among the first generation of people to grow up with internet use being common in the home. And my parents, it was new to them, and it was new to me as well when I was like 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
And I think I was like 9 or 10 when I first started using internet porn,
Hmm.
which is pretty common among my generation, either that age or a little bit older, 13, 14. And it just became something that was pretty regular for me, like whenever I could sneak away to the computer and get some alone time. And it became more common when I was 13 or 14 and got my own computer in my own room.
Yeah.
And it just got more frequent during that time, during high school. And I never really thought it was harmful or anything until, well, actually until later. But when I was 18, I tried to have sex for the first time with my girlfriend at that time. And it just physically wouldn't work.
Mm.
My penis wouldn't work. And tried it many times after that with her and with other girls after her. And it just never worked. And I was really confused and really broken up about it. I thought it might be because I masturbated too often, so I would just give it a rest for a couple of weeks and not look at porn or anything, but that didn't
Yeah.
help either. So I figured, well, if a couple of weeks away won't help, then it's obviously that's not the problem. Must be like I'm anxious or something, and
Yeah.
I was getting more and more anxious because, after you fail so many times and it feels really bad, how can
Yeah,
you
it's tough.
help
Yeah.
but feel
What
anxiety
happens to your
around sex?
confidence?
Yeah.
It just goes down. Hmm.
But it wasn't until I was 24, so 3 years ago now, that I saw Gary Wilson's TED Talk, The Great Porn Experiment,
No,
and I
I haven't
learned
seen that.
all about. You haven't seen that one?
No, I should. I should.
Yeah, you definitely should. I think it's up to like 7 or 8 million views now. It was definitely a light bulb moment for me. It made me realize that years of consistent internet porn use when I was younger had rewired my brain and my sexuality toward being aroused by the computer screen instead of by real intimate situations and real relationships.
Mm.
And it had desensitized me sexually to the point where just a naked woman in front of me wasn't enough to turn me on and give me that physical arousal response. And thousands of guys on the internet were coming out with these similar stories that they could no longer have sex with their girlfriends or their wives, or they never had been able to. And they found that they all had the same thing in common: years of internet porn use. And that once they quit, it might take some guys it would be pretty quick, like within a month they'd be able to have sex again. Some guys it took over a year. But I was seeing that these guys over time, if they quit porn, they could resensitize and heal their brains and their sexuality and rewire themselves, condition themselves back toward real intimacy.
Because
So I
attraction and
decided, well,
alluring isn't just in the genitals. It's also a lot in the brain.
yeah, it's mostly in the brain, really. And some guys also experience physical desensitization from masturbating roughly. It's called death grip. Where they get to the point where they just need a lot of physical stimulation as
Yeah.
well to get to that orgasm. And that was never really that much of a problem for me, but it was definitely in my brain, and it took about 3 months before of complete abstinence from porn and masturbation, and then I was finally able to have sex for the first time in my life.
What was the first moment where you realized that this story that you had and this experience that you had was important enough to share? And how did you first share that?
Well, it started pretty early on. Anonymously, I would share my story so far, what I had gone through and how I had come to this realization just in an online journal on a forum, yourbrainrebalanced.com. Just an online recovery community for guys going through this, and women as well, and partners with porn addicts, etc. So they have journal sections divided by age groups, and I would just write in my journal. And
Yeah.
people really seemed to resonate with what I was writing. And as time went on and I was experiencing more and more how life-changing this decision was for me, and how much porn had held me back all those years, and how I had no idea all that time that porn use could be harmful in any way. And I just realized that, oh my gosh, there's so many people out there who have no idea that these habits can be having this massive negative effect on their lives and their relationships. And I felt like this is something that I can do to really make a difference in the world, is to put my story out there. And that's when I decided to write my book, Whack, Addicted to Internet Porn, and I started making videos and speaking to crowds, etc. And here I am today. And now I coach people one-on-one, and I have a YouTube channel and all that, and my website, addictedtointernetporn.com.
That will be inside the link right here. Well, actually, I'm on the bottom right corner of the screen, so it's not going to be down here, but it's going to be to the right of Noah's face on the YouTube video, and on the other stuff, it'll be at the top of the article. But yeah, so it was super interesting to hear. I'm going to share a little bit of my experience. This isn't about me, so I'm not going to take too long.
Interested in all this?
Well, my website is not directly related to internet porn. My website, Project Unchained, is I interview people like you, people that have some sort of name to themselves and have found something that they follow, and you've decided to follow this. You followed it, and you've been successful in gaining what you wanted, which was influence. I'm not exactly sure what your original goals were, but you have influence. You have public. A notion of public fame where people respect you for what you're saying, and I think it was super interesting to see that. Actually, one of the funny things was the reason I found your site. I was on OkCupid, and I was looking through a bunch of profiles, and one girl, she's like, "All you guys are crazy. You need to look at." I wasn't addicted to internetporn.com. It was.
Your Brain on Porn?
Yeah, yourbrainonporn.com, and you need to watch this video. And I was on yourbrainonporn.com, and I actually might have seen that TED Talk there. I saw something similar to that. It might have been what you're talking about on yourbrainonporn.com, and I was reading through it. She didn't respond, by the way, but I was reading through it, and I was looking at the articles, and I came across your blog, and I'm like, I'm in a lot of my friends do NoFap, which is a different. There's a different goal for NoFap. It's like it's more like discipline type stuff.
Well, not so much. I mean, NoFap, a lot of people define it however they want to define it for themselves. So for some people, NoFap means I'm quitting porn, but I'll still masturbate. For some people, it means not masturbating at all, etc. It's become sort of a nebulous term, but I get what you're coming from.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've always been interested in sex, and I've had a lot of sexual exploration with myself. And it's a fascinating subject. I feel like more people should be open about it, and I respect anybody who talks openly about sex, but especially anything on the fringes. I think it's super cool to confront issues with it, to confront misrepresentations and explain and help people have healthier sex, because a lot of people are like, sex is like the subject that's over here, that's under the covers, they don't like to talk about, and then the problems that develops go like into other parts of your life, and I'll bring it back to you in a sec. But one thing I realized when I was deep into internet porn addiction, when I was a kid, I would take my dad's PDA, since he put a password on the computer, which I cracked a couple times, and I would look at porn on his PDA, since the computer was off limits, and then I would actually steal magazines from the store with my friends. So it went pretty deep, but I noticed that I would objectify people, and on dates, I would be very goal-oriented. If I didn't have sex on a date, I would get pissed, and there wouldn't be a second date because I was really bitter. Like, nobody wants to date a bitter guy. That's the shittiest thing ever. And actually, I'm just coming from a club, and the other room is a girl we've made up afterwards, but is a girl that I didn't really treat very well because of something related to that. And so it has created a lot of damage in my friendships and relationships, which it's taken me a while, and sometimes not successfully, to repair. And I'm wondering, what kind of, if you don't mind opening up, what kind of toll did it take on your social life, and how did you attempt to undo that damage?
Well, first, it's so funny that you found all this through some girl's OkCupid profile.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That's amazing. She just said something like, "You guys watch way too much porn. Visit this website."
Yeah,
or something like that.
Pretty much. It wasn't like that. She was very intelligent. I think she went to Princeton, because I'm at Rutgers, which is near Princeton. I see a lot of girls from Princeton on OkCupid, and she was like, she was like, "You need to watch this because it wasn't explicit, but I feel like it was very vague why, but I think it was because a lot of girls have been sexualizing her too much and
Or
not seeing her as a
guys have
person."
been. Yeah. Well, as far as my romantic life, this destroyed all my romantic relationships. You know, that first relationship when I was 18 and trying to have sex for the first time, I was totally unable to talk to her about my inability to have sex because I didn't understand it, and I was ashamed of being sexually broken for a reason I didn't understand, especially when I felt that I had always been a very sexual guy with a high sex drive, and this has been something that I'd wanted all my life, but now for some reason my body didn't agree with that. So every time I was around her, I would just be thinking about this, and I'd be feeling really bad, and it just led to me not wanting to think about it anymore, and I broke up with her. And all my relationships in the future, it was always sort of the same story. Like I'd make excuses like, I guess I'm just not ready to have sex with you yet, or something like that. And it would inevitably lead to the relationship souring.
Yeah.
I think especially because I was just unwilling to confront it in conversation and be open and honest about, like, I have no idea what's going on here. I've never been able to have sex. I was never able to admit that, and I wasn't able to admit it to anybody until I finally realized what the problem was for myself and knew what I had to do about that in order to get better. And at that point, I told my girlfriend at the time, and I started telling my friends about it. A lot of them realized that it probably had an effect on their sex lives as well.
Yeah,
I told my family about it, and of course, perfect strangers all over the world. But as far as my social life, porn just became something that I would do like instead of other things. If I was bored or something, or if I wanted some emotional relief, I was lonely or depressed, I would look at porn. When I could have been out hanging out with friends or something.
Yeah.
It's not like I was completely alone hanging out in the basement watching porn all the time, but I'm sure my social life would have been more vibrant if I hadn't been using porn.
Yeah, because you don't have to go out and look for actual girls if you can get all your satisfaction right there. But then again, you can't really fool your body. Your body knows that you're not making an emotional connection. Your body knows that you're not actually having sex with a physical body. You're having sex with a computer screen in your hand, and there's that disconnect. And I feel like that's where that like sinking feeling after you masturbate to porn is. It's like your body knows that it's been tricked, because your mind.
Well, even chemically, the experience of masturbation to porn and sex are completely different. We can see that. Like we see a much higher release of oxytocin with penis and vagina sex than we do with masturbation, and that makes us feel satisfied and bonded to somebody and loved. Whereas I feel like masturbation to porn is just a lot of desire and seeking without much satisfaction.
It's the difference between lust and love, and there's a place for lust in certain situations, in certain cases. It's not a morally wrong thing to feel and to act on it in certain situations, but at the same time, like, personally, I feel like I have had much happier times when I'm having sex with somebody I just met, even though I just met them, rather than me having sex with an image on a screen. Which, even that, like, even though we never saw each other again, like one night stand, it's still a much better situation for me in my brain. And I've noticed that, and I'm sure you've noticed the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against casual sex by any means, but I think even casual sex can, in the moment, be intimate and loving. It can still be a very positive experience, whereas pornography, I mean, I have no cherished memories of watching pornography and using porn. I do have cherished memories of, brief romantic interludes.
Yeah, memories that you can draw on if you need to. I'm curious, at one point, did you ever feel like there was a moment where you wanted to change your view because other people thought differently? Like, I'm not sure what your challenges in your mind are, but I can imagine it's the controversy. And I'm wondering about going into that controversy. Have you ever changed your rhetoric because of the controversy?
You mean since I've started speaking out about porn?
Yes. Yeah.
No, I don't feel like I have. I feel like I just speak my truth and let what comes come. One thing I've always been clear on is I don't think that banning pornography or anything like that is going to be productive.
Mm.
I think that it's out there. We have the internet. People are going to find it if they want to.
Yeah,
You can find
prohibition
illegal
didn't work.
pornography right now if you want to. And I think that where the solution really lies is in education, educating adults so that they know, they can recognize if they start having these sorts of problems, then they can think, maybe it's the porn that's causing this, I should look into that. And they can go online and find websites like YBOP or my website and find some answers. And also educating parents and teachers so that they can talk to children about pornography in a way that makes sense to them. I think that it has to be part of sex education, talking about pornography, because it's how a lot of young people are looking.
But yeah, it's super useful to have that help, because without some kind of mentorship, without some kind of help, I'm just shooting blanks here. Forgive the pun, but it's, you need some guidance if you don't know what to do, and that's one of the things he teaches, which is I've found in my life is to be very true. Is you've got to be humble if you want to learn anything. And
Sure.
one of the quotes he loved to say: "To inherit the kingdom, you must make yourself like a child."
Yeah, I like that distinction between childlike and childish. We have a lot of admiration for childlike qualities, wonderment at the world and curiosity, but childish, don't be so childish. Don't throw a tantrum.
It's immature.
Uh-huh.
But playfulness, like I like to tell people, this is hilarious, and we'll go back to the interview in a sec. But I like to
Okay.
tell people, um, I will never be an adult, but I'm going to be a responsible child.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for my life, but I will not. I will not grow up.
You heard that verb, adulting?
Yes, I have.
That's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
bit weird. I was actually
it's
with a
just
group.
it just embodies this attempt to be something that you're not. To put on a mask to fit what you think the world expects of you. And I think too many people in this society are doing that. We all just need to be who we are and do the best we can for ourselves and each other, and not worry about being an adult.
That's beautiful.
You know.
That's very beautiful. What have you found? Like, has that become easy to you, or is it has it been hard for you to embody that, or has it always come easy to you?
Um, I think it's become easier to be secure in myself since I quit watching pornography. I think that aside from the actual brain changes that happened after I quit porn and allowed myself to heal,
Hmm.
also just living a life that's open and honest and not keeping anything secret, really, is
It's
great for
freeing.
self-confidence, and it's freeing, and it lifts a lot of weight off of my shoulders. Because even if I wasn't really ashamed of using porn, which I wasn't, I thought it was totally normal, it's not something that I talk to people about either. And
Hey, readers. So that was where the interview cut off. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the interview software, but I'm going to relay a bit of what we talked about. Generally, the same stuff that we were talking about previously about porn, about how it affects you, about how his experience with controversial aspects of himself. I'll email him some questions that I know we talked about afterwards, and I'll just see if he can offer written explanations. We got some good content with him, and I'll be writing some editorials. And if you have any questions about what we talked about, shoot me a message. projectunchained@gmail.com. Subscribe on the bottom of the website and share. Please, it'd be awesome. Actually, this will be on the YouTube channel, so you want to subscribe underneath the video. Yeah. For those watching or listening on SoundCloud, subscribe and share on there too.